I'm a sick man.
Lindsay and her friend Jenny were just two normal girls whose road trip through Germany turns into a blood-curdling nightmare as their vehicle breaks down in the middle of the woods. Searching for help, they come across an isolated villa. An older, creepy guy answers the door, and the girls politely ask him for help.
Can we use your phone so we can call the car company service?
The man lets them inside and locks the door behind them. He introduces himself and tells them he's a doctor, while the girls admit they're just tourists. The doctor then offers them a drink and tells them he'll make a call. He pretends to call the service while slipping sleeping pills into their drinks. He hands them the water and tells them help will arrive in half an hour. Girls try to break the awkward silence.
Do you live here with your wife?
But it only gets even stranger.
I don't like human beings.
Lindsay gets creeped out and spills her drink, and the doctor immediately starts insulting her. He then goes to his basement to grab a towel.
We need to get out of here right now.
Lindsay begs Jenny to leave, telling her he's really weird and that they should pick up their car in the morning. Meanwhile, the doctor has someone tied up in his basement. He fills a syringe with a powerful drug, then comes back to the girls and sees that Jenny has already started to pass out, and he admits he drugged her.
The rape drug causes drowsiness, dizziness, disorientation.
Lindsay only drank half the glass, but she's still a bit stunned. The mad doctor grabs her by the hair and injects her with a needle. The next morning, the girls are jolted awake, tied to a bed, screaming and panicking. That's when the doctor walks in, comes closer to the man tied to the bed, and simply tells him he has to kill him because he's not compatible. Hours later, he comes back with another victim. He wakes up all three of them and gives them a small presentation of his work.
We start with cutting the ligamentum patellae, the lips from B and C between skin and mucosa. Below the chins of B and C, the gastric system, a human centipede.
To simplify what he's saying, he used to separate Siamese twins, and now he wants to merge them. Sewing mouth to ass, he wants to create the human centipede. And all three of them are honored to be the first to ever receive such an operation. Panic quickly fills their bodies, and Lindsay tears her vein while attempting to escape. She makes it into the house, but all the doors are locked. Lindsay quickly hides inside one of the rooms and locks herself inside.
Why are you doing this?
I'm a sick man.
Just as things get quiet, the doctor comes around and breaks in through the window. Lindsay starts running away but falls into the pool. Now fully trapped, she realizes there's no escape. He tells her she shouldn't have tried to escape, and as punishment, she will be placed in the middle of the centipede, where the pain is twice as intense. He then presses a button that starts closing the pool. Lindsay dives underwater, and the house loses power. Once she can't hold her breath anymore, she gets out and sees there's no sign of the doctor. She quickly goes back to the basement and frees Jenny, who is passed out. She starts pulling her all the way to the room with the broken window, somehow managing to leave the house. Just as escape feels possible, she gets shot with a sleeping dart. Hours later, the three patients are paralyzed but fully awake, as the mad doctor marks the spots where he's going to cut on their bodies. He begins the operation, cutting the flesh. And the next morning, the operation is a success. They are all sewn together, the human centipede. He wakes them up as he celebrates, proud of his work. Everyone immediately starts crying and panicking, awakening inside pure horror. He then holds a mirror in front of them, showing them what they've become. He then puts them inside a cage, like animals. Katsuro is yelling at him, threatening to kill him, while the girls are unable to speak, only to cry. He then wants to train his centipede, telling them to bring the newspapers to him.
Come.
He proceeds to humiliate them even more, sitting on top of them, riding on their backs. He then feeds the first guy dog food. He immediately starts eating. The doctor sits at the table so they can have dinner all together. The next day, he continues his training, and then it happens. Literally, the Chinese guy starts pooping, feeding Lindsay with his feces. Later that night, things get heavy. Everyone is crying non-stop, and the doctor yells at them, telling them to stop crying because he can't sleep. He gets angry and tells them that as punishment, he will add more people to the centipede. The next day, as the doctor is swimming in his pool, Katsuro uses his teeth to untie his arm from the chair, and they slowly try to run away. But the doctor gets out of the pool, asking them if they want to escape. He then opens the doors for them and tells them to try, as he picks up his metal stick and proceeds to beat them. Later that day, he checks on his patients and concludes that Katsuro is very strong. Lindsay is holding on all right, while Jenny is really sick. As everything ends up inside her, he tells Jenny she will need to be replaced. Suddenly, a phone rings. He answers it, and it's the police, telling him to come to the front door. As he opens the door, the police ask to come inside, as they have some questions. Meanwhile, Katsuro is still screaming for help in the basement, but nothing can be heard upstairs. The police inform him about 2 missing girls, saying they found their vehicle nearby. But the doctor only offers them a drink as he goes to the kitchen, where he puts sleeping pills into the water. He gives them the drinks and tells them he knows nothing about the missing girls, saying he barely leaves the house because of his work and research. But one of the officers tells him that a neighbor heard a girl screaming from his basement. He gets offended and starts yelling at the officers. He then tells them to drink their water and get out of his house. But one of the officers kicks the glass out of his hand. The doctor says he's going to get a towel. He quickly runs to the basement, where Katsuro is still screaming for help. He fills yet another syringe with his drugs, and informs the trio that he found 2 more strong and healthy candidates for the Centipede. As he leaves, Katsuro tries to reach the scalpel. Their fall from the bed can be heard upstairs, and the officers immediately request to search the basement. But the doctor doesn't let them, saying they can search it once they come back with a warrant. As he argues, he drops the towel, revealing the syringe hidden beneath. But he tells them it's just insulin, as he has diabetes. The officers tell him they will be back with a warrant in 20 minutes. As they leave, the doctor runs to the basement, only to find his centipede missing. Suddenly, Katsuro stabs him in the leg with a scalpel. As he falls to the ground, Katsuro bites his throat and tears a piece of flesh. The trio then tries to run away, slowly taking step by step. Getting up the stairs becomes a huge problem. As they struggle, the doctor begins crawling after them. Once they make it up, Lindsay tells him to go toward the broken window. But when they remove the curtains, they see the doctor had the glass replaced. Katsuro then takes a lamp and tries to break the glass, but then sees the doctor slowly approaching. He picks up a piece of glass, but decides to give up. He admits he's just a coward as he slits his own throat. Meanwhile, the police come back with a warrant, but they hear screams and immediately enter the house. One of the officers enters the room and sees the horror. He immediately runs to search for his colleague, only to find him dead in the pool. There, the doctor is waiting for him with a gun. He shoots him in the stomach, but the officer fires back and blows the doctor's brains out, just before he himself dies from his injuries. At the same time, Jenny also dies from the sickness, leaving Lindsay trapped between the two, unable to do anything. And that's where the film ends. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video. Thanks for watching.